Right. So for me, it's been a way of life all my life. I grew up with a daddy who talked to the trees and the rocks. I grew up with the mother and a grandmother who the preachers and the pastors used to literally call them to come pray for some money for the church, or call them to say, can I come by the house because they had an issue and they needed somebody to speak heaven down or pray heaven down, as the old folks used to say. It's always been a way of life for me. Even as a young girl, when I was experiencing things in school with people who didn't necessarily accept me or understand me, or I was just their target, it was speaking and writing that caused the tide to shift for me. And then when I went into adulthood, I often did what I did. So I was in resource development and grant writing for decades. That's what I did. I helped nonprofits and I helped churches get millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. What they didn't know is we would be in the boardroom with the board of directors strategizing and the executive director or CEO saying what they want. And I would do what I do as a professional. You get what I'm saying? But when I went to the house, if they said we need $100,000 or we need $500,000, I would go to the house and I would write declarations and affirmations. I would go to the house and I would use the tools that I knew had worked for me before. It was about maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, that I started intentionally coming from behind the curtain to help people. And then it was about 5 years ago when I specifically made it my mission to help Black women, because I got a hashtag, we save everybody. And I say Black women save everybody because they hinge the political elections on us. They determine what's going to happen in the economy on us. The church house has been built and survived for so long because of us. And I said, excuse me, preachers, I said, well, hell, if everybody in the whole world is doing what they do based on Black women, why are we hungry? Why are we driving in Lexuses and coming to my darn garage to get food? Because after they done paid their bills and their daughter bills, they got to eat oodles of noodles for the next month until they get paid again. So I intentionally started to work to help Black women to tap into the power that God gave us so that we can live better lives. It's too many Black women with masters. Yes, I help Black men, and yes, I help people of different races, but it's too many Black women with degrees and master's degrees and advanced degrees who living from paycheck to paycheck. It's too many Black women who work at the university and work at the bank and work in corporate America who don't know how they're going to make their next mortgage payment and help their child, because we typically give from an empty place. So I said to myself, this has worked for me, verifiable for so long. I've got to start openly talking about it and helping Black women. And one of the reasons that I hid it for so long, Faith, is because we got a problem in our community, in the Black community, talking about money. Right? We have a problem in our community. Y'all know y'all mama told y'all what? What go on in this house? Stay in this house. If you just happen to find out how much money she make, you bet not tell nobody else. We have people who are achieving and excelling and growing financially, and they don't tell other people about it and how they do it. Why? It's not always because we're selfish. It's not always because we're only focused on us. Many times it's because we look down on what some consider the prosperity gospel. We often have been taught that money and the church house it shouldn't go together. The preacher shouldn't be asking shouldn't be asking for money. Now, listen, I'm not gonna get into that because I grew up in a whole different type of church. If the preacher, and I'm like that to this day, if the preacher say he need a new car, if he watching over our souls, we need to get him a darn new car. Now that's just me. You don't have to agree with what I say. That's why I told you that before. Don't believe what I believe. You better believe, but you do have to believe what you believe. But my point is, for so long we have looked down on the preacher and looked down on the church anytime they mention money, which now means there's a separation between God's provision and prosperity and us asking for it, us manifesting, us making sure that we have it and those around us have it. So that's the long version to your short question. This has always been my life. It's just been in the last half decade and full decade that I came from behind the curtain to share it with other people so that they can use it too.